You're just sideways right now. You know, I mean, there's nothing else to really say about it. And unless you have some suggestions. You have any suggestions? Just questions.
Riley and the Knicks found no answers the next night in Denver. They lost to the Nuggets by 8 at the McNichols Arena, and a stunned head coach wondered what else could go wrong as the losing streak hit 3. By the time the Knicks got to Phoenix, you might have expected Riley to totally have lost his cool. After all, the Knicks had lost their cool the year before at the America West Arena in a memorable brawl. But before the game, Pat maintained his sense of humor when reflecting back on the ripped pants episode.
I was glad to get rid of those pants. I was. As a matter of fact, I left them here, and I saw Westfall wearing them about 3 weeks later. I did. I just know they were mine.
As for the game itself, the Knicks were slapped silly by Barkley and the Suns. They lost by 14, and as the losing streak swelled to 4, Coach Riley knew he had to make some changes.
I think I've been about as patient as I can be. You know, I really care about this team, especially the 5 or 6 guys that have been with us for 2.5 years, and I've always had a history of staying with guys going up and going down, but I think somewhere just in the best interest of the team, we're going to probably have to do something just to get a different mix, you know, and guys will have to look at it not as a penalty, but in the best interest of just trying to change a few things to get more energy out there, whatever it's going to take, and we'll do that. So I don't think we're going to have any conflicts with whatever, because the truth is out there on the court, and it's not very good right now. So that's all I can do as a coach.
A funny thing happened to the Knicks on their way to Sacramento. They stopped in Reno. Riley rolled the dice in the season-long losing streak with an escape to the biggest little city in the world. And as he hinted in Phoenix, the coach made some lineup changes as he tried to snap the longest regular season losing streak of his coaching career. The starting lineup changed dramatically. Enter Anthony Bonner, Derek Harper, and Hubert Davis. Exit Greg Anthony, Charles Smith, and John Starks. The game also marked the return of a key element which had been missing for quite a while: defense. The Riley gamble paid dividends. The Knicks rolled a yo 11 and beat the Kings by 12 to say so long to the slump. The Knicks started a trend in Sacramento which continued when they returned to the Garden. Fourth quarter fury. A 15-0 run doomed the New Jersey Nets. And a royal 17-0 fourth quarter explosion sent the Detroit Pistons to their fate at the Palace 4 days later. Suddenly, a 4-game losing streak had turned into a mini 3-game win streak. Riley refused to take credit.
I guarantee it wasn't anything that I said. So I say teams usually have to work that out, and there's no sense in coming all the way back and then not getting it done. So, you know, we never exhale.
With their confidence back in tow, the Knicks challenged the first-place Hawks in an Eastern Conference showdown. Charles Oakley buried a huge fourth-quarter jumper to propel New York to one of their most impressive victories of the season, 90-83. In that game, John Starks injured his left knee. It would still be several days before the severity of the injury would be known. 2 days later, in their triumph at Boston, Hubert Davis caught fire on the fabled parquet floor. He buried a season-high 25 points and hit 5 for 5 from trifecta land. He did it with the multi-talented Starks on the bench with his multicolored shirt. Then against Cleveland the next night, the Knicks extended their winning streak to 6 as they held off a stubborn Cleveland team. After the game, it was announced that Starks needed surgery and would join Doc Rivers on the sideline. As always, Riley was philosophical.
This game, to me, is about finding ways to be challenged all the time. I mean, there's nothing wrong with putting your back against the wall, you know, and sometimes when you're comfortable and things are going good for you, and I think that's been one of our problems, you know, we don't have those challenges. We don't feel those challenges. So this would be one, you know, where we can just firmly plant our back against that proverbial wall and, you know, plant our feet as a team.
Look back at the Knicks road trip and the Knicks losing streak and the Knicks winning streak through the eyes of Coach Pat Riley. And those post-game press conferences are always something to listen to. Coming up next, we'll talk about the Knicks' glory years, and we'll talk about the Sharp Electronics Legends game coming up later.
The choice is yours. A Pontiac Grand Am 4-door sedan or 2-door coupe, $13,999. That's right. Cooper sedan, only $13,999. Fully loaded with airbag, air conditioning, power anti-lock brakes and steering, automatic door locks and transmission, AM/FM stereo, rear window defogger. Has more, costs less than a comparably equipped Accord DX and Altima XE. Your choice. Grand Am Cooper sedan, $13,999. Limited time only at participating New York, New Jersey, Connecticut Team Pontiac dealers.
Iowa asks, does your portable CD sound this?
Wilbur, get the kid up.
Today's Knicks game, and joining me right now on the floor, two of the Knicks legends, Cassie Russell and Harry the Horse Gallatin. And Cassie, first of all, I know you were coaching for quite a while. What are you up to these days?
Well, I was coaching in the CBA up until January. I'm now in the ministry, assistant pastor in Love Zion Baptist Church in Columbus, Ohio, so I'm staying busy with that.
Cassie, of course, you were part of a great memory here at the Garden, 69-70, Knicks World Championship. What kind of feeling do you get when you walk back to this building?
Oh, great feeling. I mean, that particular season, it was really great. Of course, to win the championship there, everybody dreams of doing that. Of course, I always see that when I glance down at my ring every morning, so it reminds me of what a great year that was.
Harry the Horse Gallatin, the only Knick ever to lead the NBA in rebounding. And Harry, could you do the work on the boards today?
I think it might be a little tougher, although position's still the name of the game. It's not how you jump.
How are you enjoying retirement?
Oh, just great. Playing a lot of golf, enjoying that.
What about the Knicks in your era? What was the thing that made the Knicks go? You went to 3 consecutive finals in the early 50s.
Well, I think it was teamwork. Of course, Dick McGuire, Carl Braun, Ernie Van de Weyck, Sweetwater Clifton. But we worked together, and if anybody had any problems, you know, we always switched, and we worked a lot together.
Cassie, the essence of the Knicks' glory years was also teamwork under Coach Red Holtzman.
I think so. Of course, we were able to run the ball up the floor, and when the running game wasn't there, we worked a half-court game, which was, I think, one of our strengths.
Cassie, believe it or not, it'll be 30 years ago this coming December that you and Bill Bradley engaged in one of the greatest college basketball games ever played in a Madison Square Garden. Princeton against Michigan, ECAC Holiday Festival. Your memories?
I thought I would be able to get away from and about not reminding me about that, but of course it was great for me as a collegiate to play in Madison Square Garden. I'm sure every collegiate player dreams about playing there. But good ball game. Bradley really put on a show. But hopefully, you know, he tired a little bit toward the end, which gave us an end. So it was a great game. I remember that.
All right, guys, quick thoughts on the present-day Knicks. Harry, what do you think of this club?
Well, they're really physical. I think that's the first thing that strikes you. They're aggressive, they're physical. You don't get anything easy on the Knicks, and I think that's the key to their success.
Cassie, 10 seconds of the present-day Knicks.
Again, I think they run well. They get the ball off the board. They're very physical inside, and this is where I think a part of their strength is inside. And, of course, when they're hitting from the outside, they're even more potent.
Harry Gallatin, Cassie Russell, a part of Knicks history. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so it's the Knicks and the Boston Celtics this afternoon at Madison Square Garden, so stay with us.
New York Knicks game night has been brought to you by the New York Times. To keep up with the sports in New York, keep up with the Times.
People say it's what's inside.
Welcome to Madison Square Garden in New York for the Knicks and the Boston Celtics. Meeting for the 4th and final time. The Knicks these days dominating the Celtics. They've won the previous 4, 7 of the last 8. The Knicks on a tear, season high, 8 straight wins. Tied with Atlanta for the top spot in the Eastern Conference, while the Celtics going through their worst season in 15 years. They're 22-40 with only 2 wins their last 19 games. Hi, everybody. Marv Albert along with John Andres. Well, the Knicks and the Celtics met in Boston last Friday night, a 90-83 Knick victory, a game that will be remembered for Hubert Davis going through almost a perfect situation. A terrific all-around game. Actually, John, a breakthrough game for Hubert, who is now a very significant player because of the absence of John Starks.
And how timely that was, because that was John Starks' first miss of this Knicks season, and Hubert stepped in and was remarkable. He missed a first quarter layup, an off-balance layup, and then he was perfect the rest of the way. And what was most impressive, Marv, was his long-range shooting. He was on target throughout this game. He and Patrick Ewing were the only ones that really shot well. He had 5 3-point shots made in 5 attempts, obviously, and it kept up throughout the game. It was a career high 25 points on 10 of 11 from the field for Hubert Davis. He said, I haven't had a shooting night like that since my days at Lake Braddock High School in Burke, Virginia.
As for the Celtics, a far different story. This is a club that is about to be dismantled. They have dropped 4 in a row, and they have lost 17 of their last 19 games.
Last time they were here, they came in with a 7-game winning streak. The Knicks knocked them off, and they lost the next 12 after that. Now, the other day, they had a 2-game winning streak in Boston last Friday, and they've lost 4 since then. So at 22-40, you've got to go back to 78-79 when they had their last losing season. And one of the problems is they don't have anybody scoring. Nobody's even averaging 15 or more. This is a down team. You can't tell that to Pat Riley. He's still nervous.
All right, so it's the Knicks and the Celtics matinee basketball here at Madison Square Garden. We'll be back with the starting lineups after these words. Nine and 0 in the month of March. And here are the Hertz starting lineups.
Today's starting lineups, first for the Celtics. At guard, at 6'1" from Jacksonville, number 7, D. Brown. At guard, at 6'1" from Syracuse, number 20, Sherman Douglas. At forward, at 6'11" from Croatia, number 40, Dino Raja. At forward, at 6'7", from North Carolina, number 44, Rick Fox. At center, at 7 feet 1/2 inch from Centenary, 00, Robert Parrish. The trainer is Ed Lasser. Assistant coaches Don Casey, John Jennings, and Dennis Johnson. And the head coach, Chris Ford. And now, please welcome your New York Knicks. At guard, at 6'4" from Illinois, number 11, Derek Harper. At guard, at 6'5" from North Carolina, number 44, Hubert Davis. At forward, at 6'8" from St. Louis, number 4, Anthony Banner. At forward, at 6'9" from Virginia Union, number 34, co-captain Charles Oakley. And at center, at 7 feet from Georgetown, number 33, co-captain Patrick Ewing. The head trainer is Mike Saunders. The assistant trainer, Tim Walsh. Assistant coaches, Dick Carter and Jeff Van Gundy. And the head coach of the Knicks, Pat Riley.
The Knicks today attempting to set a new NBA record, making it 9 straight defensive games under 90 points. Break the mark set by the 1954-55 Syracuse Nationals. We asked Pat Riley, does that record provide extra incentive for today's game?
We're not shooting for that. I mean, none of us were even aware of it until it was brought to our attention. I think our defense has been consistent, all year long from a numerical standpoint. It's around the 90s all the time, and anything that translates into a win is the only thing that we care about. So if we can keep people down in the 80s, then we got a great chance to win.
Pat has certainly sold that winning is the only thing to his players, because when asked about their individual efforts of late, they always begin their response with winning is the first thing we think about.
The Elias Sports Bureau digging deep into the NBA archives came up with the fact that the Knicks were on their way to this record. They tied it with the 105-83 win over Milwaukee here on Thursday night, and now tried to put themselves all alone in the record book. The officials are Hugh Hollins, Jim Kinsey, and Bruce Alexander as the Celtics control the tip. Dino Radja, who has played very well as of late, gets it out to Sherman Douglas. So the Celtics with a 2-0 lead. Sherman Douglas showing no signs of the broken nose suffered in that collision with Charles Oakley last week, although he took a verbal pounding from his teammates who were reacting in kidding fashion about the broken nose. Oakley has tied the game at 2.
Well, he took a pounding from the man who hit that jump shot, Charles Oakley, that's for sure.
Rick Fox, the basket counts, and the foul is called. Rick Fox getting the step, and he was fouled by Charles Oakley.
The Knicks were caught in their transition by the Celtics. That was, as we look at, we know Bob Cousy and Tommy Heinsohn here broadcasting the game back to Boston. I do a flashback to the style of basketball they played. That was what Rick Fox and his teammates just did by pushing that ball up the sideline.
Derek Harper and Hubert Davis in the backcourt. Patrick Ewing up front with Anthony Bonner and Charles Oakley. And the foul is called on Parrish. So Ewing to the line, getting back to the Sherman Douglas broken nose. The abuse from his friends was at a painful pace. For example, assistant coach Don Casey said, as he noted that the nose had actually drifted to the left side of Sherman's face, he said that's one of the first times in his life his body went left. Fine line from Don.
You know they love you when they talk to you like that. It was serious though when he was writhing on the floor up in the Boston Garden. No one was kidding then.
Celtics and the Knicks are tied at 4. Boston coming off a loss at home to Chicago Wednesday night, lost 101-100 for their 4th straight defeat. D. Brown looking for the shot. Boston with a 6-4 lead. 3-second violation. Robert Parrish screaming for the call, and he got it.
And Patrick Ewing not happy as he ran up court, muttering to himself that he was caught in that position.
Four straight losses by the Celtics to the Knicks. That's what started that latest streak. Miami, Charlotte, and then Wednesday to the Chicago Bulls. So the Celtics at 22-40. Last season at this time, after 62 games, Boston 34-28. Ewing for Harper. Knicks on the run. Harper. Time played well. Could not get the shot off as he went at Douglas.
I'm surprised he didn't get that ball to Ewing, who was running a step ahead of him, which is the key to big men when they play with Harper. I guess Derek just couldn't get the angle properly so that he could execute a pass.
Ewing is fouled again. So Robert Parrish picking up a quick 2. Last time the Knicks played the Celtics in Boston last Friday night, Robert Parrish was making his return. He had sat out a couple of games because of back spasms. Suffered because, as we received word, hurt himself shoveling snow. And also took a lot of ribbing from his teammates. Well, A.C. Earl has come on for Robert Parrish. A.C. Earl has been getting the playing time as Chris Ford is trying to take a look at what he might have next year on this roster. AC, a rookie from Iowa, first-round draft pick.
Well, he's been getting the playing time for sure as the Celtics try and look to the future. But this is too early for Parrish to go out. Game not 2 minutes old, and he's out at least now till the second quarter. Although Parrish has not been doing it lately, he has scored 14 points for the Celtics in the last 3 games.
Rick Fox. Boston 8 and the Knicks 6. AC Earl tangling up with Patrick Ewing. It counts, and the foul. Pretty fake by Ewing. He had Earl committed. Earl called for the foul.
Well, for AC Earl, he is in class right now. He's learning the game as a rookie, and he's going up against one of the best and strongest, and he just didn't compete on that move till the end. At least if you're going to commit the foul, make it more difficult for the offensive man.
And it looks like a lane violation called on Sherman Douglas. So Patrick Ewing will get a do-over. Sherman Douglas stepping in too quickly. Three-point play for Ewing. It's the Knicks 9 and the Celtics 8. Usual capacity crowd here at the Garden. 60th consecutive sellout. 19,763 on hand. D. Brown firing.
That's a bad shot. Under pressure, a long-range shot with no ball movement on the offense.
Oakley comes up way short. He claims he was fouled. Here's Brown. Oh, what help from Bonner. Brown was going at Davis and had the step, and Anthony Bonner came back to help. Nice play by Bonner.
Davis does a nice job, though. He keeps making it more difficult, and the combination of that and the help made it work.
Douglas. Sherman Douglas, who had a 5 for 15 shooting game against the Bulls the other night. Celtics 10 and the Knicks 9. The hot man for Boston was D. Brown against Chicago. Derek Harper giving the Knicks a 1-point lead. D. Brown with game-high 27, 8 rebounds, 5 steals against Chicago. That's Brown getting the step.
I tell you, it's tough for big men to play with Brown if he keeps shooting like that. They lose their zest for rebounding in cases like that when the guard does all the shooting.
And apparently a traveling violation was called. Knicks 11 and the Celtics 10. Harper with the steal, stripping Douglas, leading Davis, and he's fouled by Brown.
Tell you, Derek Harper's going to become a crowd favorite if he isn't already with his defensive style. He has the unique ability to reach around an offensive player and steal the ball. And boy, I'll tell you, 9 out of 10 times a player does that, he's called for a foul for that reach around. Hubert Davis at the end of that play. Another look at it from a different angle. You can see how Harper, with his quickness, tapped that ball. And the great part about a play like Harper executes is that he frees the ball, which is terrific in itself, but he frees it so he can recapture it and take it down court for his team. It's like the shot blocking of Bill Russell years ago that people always talked about. It wasn't only the shot block, but he tapped it so it could be recaptured by his teammates.
Derek Harper had a good one the other night against Milwaukee. Best game as a Knick, though, last Tuesday against Indiana. Season high of 12 assists, along with 17 points, and he is now hitting his shot, showing more confidence. 4 minutes have gone by in this first quarter. Fox throwing in a crowd, and Harper ends up with it. Ewing. Once again, Patrick Ewing to the line. AC Earl called for the foul. So both Robert Parrish and AC Earl having their difficulties here in the early going and defending against Patrick Ewing.
And there doesn't seem to be any sign that that will change as long as Patrick keeps going to the basket and putting pressure on A.C. Earl and Parrish when he returns.
Oh, the X-Man has begun the lecture. Loves to whisper into the ear of Patrick Ewing.
Well, he has been known from time to time to get a response out of Patrick, which is difficult to do because Ewing is very serious on the court and doesn't give much verbal response.
Dino Radja backing his way. Strong move by Dino Radja, rookie from Croatia, who has been playing well. Had a good one against the Knicks last week. Derek Hopper again. Second field goal for Derek, and the Knicks now lead 17-12. Potter trying to break it up and is called for the foul.
He has the feeling now when Harper takes his shots as readily as he is doing that he personally doesn't feel that he's being selfish. I always got the feeling watching him that if he took shots, he'd feel like he was shooting too much no matter when he did. No longer the case.
Timeout is called. 5 minutes gone by on the first. 17-12 lead.
You think that young man went to the piggy bank for those seats, Marv?
I have the feeling, John, it was a giveaway from an influential friend, perhaps.
What a piggy bank.
But it's nice to see, because I know you have difficulty at times as Sherman Douglas is able to hit that jump shot to bring the Celtics within 3. You've had difficulty with the day games. They always say that players sometimes are not ready when they're playing earlier in the day, and you've reacted better today because we've had problems, as Hubert Davis just did. D. Brown with the steal, nice feed, and Sherman Douglas brings Boston within 1. Have you changed your
Yes,
habit?
I get up at 3:30 in the morning.
Well, that's good.
Game. So now in my body and mind, it's 7:30.
See, that's smart. That's good. It's experience.
It takes me a while.
Ewing with the drop step surprised Oakley, who was able to recover and drew the foul.
What you have to like about that play is Ewing's ability to see the opening as quickly as he did and move that ball to Charles Oakley. Nicely done by Ewing. As he moves inside on Earl, he could force the shot, but he saw Charles. He likes Charles.
So Oakley, off this play, will go to the line. Rick Fox called for the foul. Charles still bothered by the numbness in his left hand, but has not missed a practice or a game and has been playing exceptionally well.
Yes, he went to a hand specialist yesterday and was told to get out of here and play ball.
Yes.
No, not the case.
Knicks 19 and the Celtics 16. And the Knicks doing the job at the line. They are 11 for 11 at the foul line. Ewing has hit all 7 of his free throws. Back door for Radja.
Excellent help on that lead pass to Radja. Help from behind.
Ewing. Beautiful move, and the Knicks now lead 21-16, 11 points for Patrick Ewing.
He is too much for the Celtics.
Fox bottled up and fouled. It's called on Oakley, his second, and Rick Fox will go to the line. Rick Fox averaging 9.5 per game, 79% free throw shooter. He has emerged as a starter this season. He had been in and out of the starting lineup last year. 3rd season out of North Carolina. Here's Anthony Mason replacing Charles Oakley. Anthony Mason, hearing it from the crowd, had a strong performance Thursday against Milwaukee. 8 of 10, 17 points, 9 rebounds, also 5 assists. Hopper from Bonner. He'll reset it. Sherman Douglas with the 2 hands on Derek Hopper, went to the spin and fires.
Boy, I haven't seen that move by Harper since he's been wearing a Knicks Knicks uniform. He won one-on-one with a lot of razzle-dazzle and makes a very exciting shot. Another look at it now. Dribbling, crossover dribble. Derek Harper has arrived big time for the Knicks.
The Knicks now lead by 5, just under 5 minutes to go. In this first quarter, Brown off a spin. Nice shot. Steve Brown does it at the other end. And the Knicks now lead by 3. Davis beating Brown on the overplay. We are seeing some terrific shooting at both ends. Knicks 25 and Boston 20. 4.5 left in this first quarter. Brown from way out. Harper got caught up and a traveling violation.
Derek forcing the move a bit also on that play, forcing the offensive move. The Knicks are getting into a groove of running now, and on that play it looked like Derek wanted to keep the fast break going even though it had stopped. Clear out now for Douglas to work alone. Harper's getting good help.
Fox off the fake. Well, Rick Fox with 8 points. And the Knicks lead is now 3.
Coming down.
Bonner stopped by Brown. Douglas. Well, the Knicks are not getting any stops in this first quarter. Boston shooting well, and the Knicks now lead 25 to 24.
Well, you know, the story was, Marv, with the Knick defense playing so well lately. Pat Riley was focusing on offense yesterday in the Knick practice as Harper draws a foul on the drive to the basket. And to oversimplify, you might say that the Knicks have to get back to a little more intensity on defense. Now, their offense is working fine early in this game, but if they've had a weakness this year, it has been their offensive end, although today at 7 out of 10 from the field, they've been magnificent, but the Celtics are right behind them. The Knicks are winning so far at the foul line. That's the difference for them.
Celtics over the limit with that foul, and Harper will go to the line. Ed Pinckney, New York area product, getting set to check in for the first time. Well, the Knicks with their first miss at the line, hit their previous 11. A.C. Earl will sit down, and Chris Ford is going with his third center of this first quarter. He started with Robert Parrish, picked up 2 fouls, and then come on with the rookie A.C. Earl, and now Ed Pinckney. And I assume that Pinckney, who at times will go up against opposing centers, will be matched with Ewing. Knicks lead 26-24. Shot clock at 5. Roger played very tough by Mason. It is a 24-second violation. Excellent defensive job by Anthony Mason. Celtics take a timeout. 2:54 to go in the first. All Yankees and the Chicago White Sox from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Michael Jordan still with the Sox. Might get a glimpse at him as Michael's baseball career continues, although appears to be winding down with the big club. Willis Reed, Executive Vice President, New Jersey Nets. On hand, Oscar Robertson talking over old times with Harry the Horse, Harry Galton, and Dave DeBuscher. Now, the other side of the court, all are here for the 5th annual Sharp Electronics Knicks Legends game that will take place following the Knicks and the Celtics. And we will have a close-up look at the game on Knicks game night on Tuesday night prior to the Knicks going against the Chicago Bulls. Here's Ewing getting inside, fielded by Rolando Blackman, who just checked in, but Ewing once again will go to the line, this time fouled by Dino Raja, and Patrick Ewing 7 for 7. from the line. Well, let's take a listen back to this play.
That was the rim saying,
yes.
Ouch.
Yes. Knicks with a 26-24 lead on the Celtics with 2:36 to go in this opening quarter. Patrick way off on those free throw attempts. This is the fourth meeting of the season between the Knicks and the Celtics. Deep Brown rejected as Ewing came over to help. Knicks have won the previous three. This is also the final meeting of the season. Douglas nearly picked it off. Good recovery by Ewing, and Mason is fouled. Rick Fox called for his second foul. Well, John Starks on the Knick bench, using a cane to help him get around following the arthroscopic knee surgery.
John is getting older, Marv.
Yes. I'm sure he looks at it in that way. There are several guys in civvies on the Knick bench. Charles Smith is sitting it out because of a injured left knee.
That looks like Toulouse-Lautrec's game. John's going to get a sore back using that cane. Well, actually, maybe it's just a sitting cane. I never thought of that. A sitting cane? You can lean on it.
Right.
You know.
Maybe it extends.
Pretend like he's a player leaning forward, you know.
Doc Rivers also on the bench. Knicks with a 3-point lead. Here's Brown. Pinckney gets it to Douglas. And the Knicks now lead 27-26. Rick Anthony now in the backcourt as the Knicks go with a 3-guard setup. Anthony with Davis and Blackman. Blackman is being guarded by Fox. Ewing got the step. Rebounded by Davis. Here comes Fox. And he turned it over. Bombing violation call on Fox. The X-Man, Xavier McDaniel, hears it from the crowd as he checks in. Xavier used to be so popular here when he was wearing the home team uniform. How they have turned on the X-Man.
You know, Marv, the way his career is going in Boston, I bet he's very happy to hear the boos, because that says that they remember me.
Douglas able to run it down as Ewing went down. Here is McDaniel. And the Celtics lead 28-27. Xavier McDaniel has not been happy with the substitution pattern of Chris Ford. Says he doesn't know where he stands as it varies from one game to another. Greg Anthony giving the Knicks a 29-28 lead. Well, the Knicks coming into today with the hope of establishing an NBA record, making it 9 straight games holding the opposition under 90 points. Nice play as McDaniel gets inside, and he is fouled. And Ewing and McDaniel having some words.
He's a riot. I mean, just a riot. He's such an act. But he's fun. He brings fun to the game. You know, for all of the suggestions of animosity and fighting, you know, he's probably about 1 for 500 for the real follow-up part. You know, he's just an amusing guy.
Yeah, it's really playful. At times it can get out of hand, but I think that Ewing treats it in the same manner. Getting back to the point, from a defensive angle, things are not going well for the New York Knicks as they hope to keep the opposition under 90 for a 9th straight game, which would break the NBA record. Well, a little warning, though. Apparently, Hugh Hollins took it seriously. He's not wanted to get out of hand. 45 seconds remaining in this first quarter. John Starks from the sideline, though, has been enjoying it all.
that devilish look participating in this game from the bench, perhaps verbally.
Celtics lead by 1. Here is Blackman. So the Knicks with a 31-30 advantage.
Interesting matchup now for Blackman guarding McDaniel, who's a lot bigger.
Pinckney is fouled. Mason came over, got him from behind. 19 seconds remaining in this first quarter. Ed Pinckney, who has made it back from major knee surgery. Blow out his right knee, played only 7 games last season. The year before, he had really come on as a rebounder and defensive player.
There was a rumor of Ed Pinckney going to Minnesota for Minnesota's Mike Brown, but right at the trading deadline, that was rescinded. And so much so that Chris Ford made kind of a joke out of it and said, Ed, you have not been traded, contrary to rumors, and no, it is not an April Fool's joke.
And another member of the Celtics not pleased with his playing time. These things do happen when the team is 22-40. Final seconds of the quarter. Ewing gets it off and hits. It counts. After 1, it's the Knicks 33 and the Celtics 32. We have seen extensive trash talking centering around that man, Xavier McDaniel, who has been going at it with Patrick Ewing. It usually involves McDaniel and Charles Oakley, a subject that we discussed earlier with the X-Man.
We're probably starting in the hall before the game and everything. So it's all in fun, you know. If he goes to the hole, he know I'm gonna hammer him. And if I go to the hole, I know I'm going to get a hammer. So when you go to the hole, you know, you got to try to finish strong. And you got to come in there leaning, and you got to be ready for anything, and you got to concentrate. I think that's one of the toughest things when you're playing against these guys, is to maintain a confidence level. And you know, as far as concentration, is realizing that, hey, I know I'm going to get hit. I have to be able to keep my eyes on the basket and take it strong.
You know, Marv, it occurs to me that people hearing the reference to the hole, and it sounds like an awful place to be. For those who don't know what the hole is, it's the area around the basket where the big men congregate and like to play physically. That's what McDaniel's referring to.
All right, here's Herb Williams coming on for the first time. And Patrick Ewing sits down, leads with 13 points, 3 of 4 from the line, 7 of 9 from the foul line. The Knicks 10 of 14 from the field. In the first quarter, Boston was 13 of 20. Xavier McDaniel given very little room, able to hit over Anthony Mason, and the Celtics lead 34-33.
When you see him make a shot like that, a tough shot under pressure, that suggests that this might be one of the big days for McDaniel. The big days come few and far between these days, as they did here in New York, which is why he's in Boston now. Certainly during the regular season when he was a member of the Knicks, the big days were too rare, but he looked sharp.
Minute and a half gone by in the second quarter. Jimmy Oliver on the floor for the first time, being guarded by Orlando Blackman. Here's Ed Pinckney, and it's a jump ball. He was tied up. Robert Parrish getting set to return.
Celtics pushing that ball inside. Blackman does a good job stopping the penetration, but then Pinckney becomes a target inside, and that's the failure there. When the big man is in position to receive a pass so close to the basket, that means the defensive man didn't do his job. He wasn't in front of him.
Next now with Anthony and Blackman in the backcourt. Oakley with Mason, Williams up front. Orlando Blackman shooting out of it the other night against Milwaukee, fouled by Oliver. Orlando came into the game Thursday 2 for his last 19 and hit 4 of 9 for 12 points. Being guarded by Jimmy Oliver, a second-year man from Purdue, originally a second-round pick of the Cavaliers. back in 1991. Last year spent time with Detroit preseason, played in the CBA. Boston taking a look at people like Jimmy Oliver and Tony Harris. Oakley able to hustle it down. A.C. Earl has been getting more and more playing time. And a pushing foul. Tom Brown. Well, Xavier McDaniel and Charles Oakley chatting it up. Xavier discussed just a moment ago, loves to go at it verbally with Charles. A little sneaky elbow throw there.
He's very aware of the Charles Oakley when he's leaving the President's smackback. And he's not interested in that Oakley smackback. Good word, man.
I think we also have our X-Man cam working full force here. Bobby Lewis and Howard Singer checking out his every move as Rolando Blackman has given the Knicks a 35-34 lead. McDaniel with the room. And it comes back to Parrish. Oliver. Jimmy Oliver with his first field goal. It's Boston by 1. Anthony for 3. Rebounded by Pinckney. Now Douglas and Oliver at the guards. Pinckney, Parrish, McDaniel up front. Parrish played well by Williams. The rare stops that we have seen by the Knicks. Change of pace dribble by Mason. Oakley, yes. The Knicks 37. The Celtics 36.
Knicks have to dig in more at the defensive end, though, as you refer, Marv. The stops have not been frequent enough for the Knicks at the defensive end.
And that is such a key. Otherwise, you're just going up and down. You're trading baskets. Something the Knicks usually do not do. McDaniel with the spin move. It will not count. Foul before the shot attempt. Called on Mason.
That's a great matchup, Mason and McDaniel. I'm not sure about their relationship, but Mason certainly is not intimidated by the X-Man, and I'm sure McDaniel feels that he's superior, that he can get his shots off against Mason. Good matchup.
Oliver got the step. The block by Williams. Anthony putting the moves on McDaniel and hits. Gorgeous drive by Greg Anthony, who comes off a very strong game on Thursday.
As the amount you spend with your Discover card goes up, your
Quick thought on how your ball club's playing right now, 33-30.
Well, I think we're coming along. The injuries have really hurt us. We're not having Chris Morris all the way, but I think Chuck has done a good job, and the players are responding.
All right, Captain, always a pleasure.
Okay, Bruce, thank you very much.
Marv?
Thank you, Bruce. And the Nets last night, continuing their West Coast journey, defeated the Lakers at the Forum, 102-90. Derek Coleman with 25 points, 18 rebounds. Kenny Anderson had 11 assists.
I must say, Marv, every time I hear Willis Reed, just reaffirms what a class guy he is, what a good man and a nice person. So consistent throughout the years in that image.
Douglas, he seemed to lose the grip on the ball, but was able to hit, and the Knicks now lead 39-38. And Sherman Douglas, 7 for 7 from the floor for 14 points. John, are you gunning for the Nets color job for next season?
You never know, Marv. You've got to cover everything.
You certainly have.
No, Willis hasn't got anything to do with
he could put in players. He could put in a good word for you.
Think they'd listen to him?
Oh, absolutely.
Even though he's a great
I think
guy.
you're in good shape now. 6:38. Word has already been received. That is his reaction to your comment. 6:39. And the Celtics 38. Douglas lost it. He had the step, lost control. The Knicks at 44-19. They're 5.5 games over Orlando. Orlando beat Cleveland last night. The Knicks are tied with Atlanta for top spot in the Eastern Conference. Oliver with a nice play. And Boston leads by 1. Atlanta beat Indiana last night on a last-second basket by Danny Manning.
Danny Manning's getting in the habit of doing that last-second heroic stuff.
Blackman. Yes, good-looking shot by Rolando Blackman. And the Knicks now lead by 1. Blackman has hit 3 out of 4. He has 6 points. Just under 6 minutes to go in the first half.
Well, the word on Jimmy Oliver is the boy can shoot that basketball. And so far, it's exactly what he's done. Jimmy Oliver is showing great familiarity with that ball.
Mason. And Oliver fires it again. Celtics looking for a three-pointer, but it's indicated as a 2. Jimmy Oliver, big guard at 6'5", 208 pounds, has come off the bench to hit 3 out of 4. He has 6 points. Here's Blackman. And Rolando Blackman has the touch.
Oliver's thinking offense, and he's doing a great job. But when Rolando gets the ball, he's got to think some defense. They're having a shootout, those two.
And a foul is called. Here's Patrick Ewing back. Herb Williams will sit down. Williams called for the foul. So Ed Pinckney to the line. The Knicks lead 43-42 with 4:55 remaining in this first half. Marv Albert, John Andres, Bruce Beck for Al Troutwig, Walt Clyde Frazier from Madison Square Garden.
Always think of Ed Pinckney's performance in that 1985 NCAA Finals. Villanova went at it with Georgetown. Ed Pinckney was terrific, as was the Villanova performance. One of the great performances by a college team during the NCAA tournament. Boy, that was a great game.
And the whistle away from the ball, holding foul. It's on McDaniel. That's 2 on McDaniel. Here's Derek Harper back on the floor. Look at the foul by McDaniel. Actually, that could have been called either way. Both guys hooking each other. Ewing got the step. And the tip home by Ewing.
You know, it's kind of sad to see Parrish beaten to the punch so often now. He's got his big contract. He's the oldest man in the NBA. And he can still play. He's terrific. But just slow getting to the point, Marv.
The game is tied at 45. As this game evolves, John, they can have you going every which way. Illegal defense called for the first time. Celtics will have a very difficult decision after this season as to whether or not to re-sign Robert Parrish. It remains to be seen what Parrish wants to do, to see if there are other teams interested. I think he can help a contending ball club even at the age of 40, going on 41. But does he hurt the Celtic situation and trying to turn things around, going for a different look by remaining on the roster?
I was talking to Bob Cousy before the game about that subject, Marvin. We'll finish that in a few moments after this commercial timeout. So you take a rest as well, Marv.
Commercials can wait, John. It's just so embarrassing.
Oh, that's Donald, Marla, and baby Trump, who's enjoying the game, bright-eyed as we see. Seems to be a guest of Mark Fleischer. Of the Larry Fleischer's seat, sat there for many years. Larry, the head of the NBA Players Association, passed away a couple of years ago.
Knicks and the Celtics tied at 45. Ewing. Patrick Ewing with 17 points. And the Knicks now lead by 2. 3:40 to go in this first half. And Derek Harper was just picked off a blindside pick by Xavier McDaniel.
That was the old Rick Mahorn half-court pick, and Xavier really enjoyed inflicting pain on Harper. Harper has something to say to him right now, too.
Harper's a tough guy, and I have a feeling we have not seen the end of that incident.
Yes, he'll remember that.
Jimmy Oliver, who's had the touch, gets it down low to Robert Parrish. Game tied at 47. For Parrish, only his second field goal. Ewing, you get the idea. He knows he can do anything he wants this afternoon.
And he is.
He's 6 of 8 from the field, 7 of 9 from the line, 19 points. The Knicks 49, the Celtics 47.
Parrish is digging in on Patrick now, claiming his space.
Rebounded by Ewing. Ewing leading the break, which is broken up. Pinckney reaching in to knock it away.
After that pick goal, take a look at this pick now by McDaniel. He KO'd Harper. McDaniel looked like he wanted to initiate a 10 count, then he kind of hovered looking at Harper lying there.
Dino Raja back, replacing Ed Pinckney, who leads with 3 points. Raja up front with Parrish and McDaniel. Douglas and Oliver at the guards. Mason pops it in. 3-point attempt for Harper. Yes! The Knicks 52, Celtics 47. Beautifully executed on the inbounds play, and Derek Harper has 10 points. He's hit 4 out of 5. Good shooting first half by both clubs. Parrish from Douglas. Beautiful pass from Sherman Douglas. The Knicks lead is 3.
When you have a helping defense like the Knicks have, a lot of times there are holes as players are reacting to where the ball is. Sometimes they lose track of their men for an instant. That opens up passing lanes that we just visited.
Harper losing the grip. He was trying to one-hop it to Oakley. Boston Celtics lost 4 in a row. 17 of the last 19, including a team record 13 straight. The 2 wins over that stretch against the Lakers at home and then at Miami. Since then, since the win at Miami, they have lost 4 in a row. Ewing. Knicks by 3 with 1.5 minutes left in the half. Dino Raja cuts it to a 1-point Knick lead. 22nd timeout called by the Knicks.
Harper and McDaniel verbalizing a little more. No, McDaniel's not going to be let off that easy by Derek Harper. Talking about Parrish before, Marv. We'll take another look at that play. A little chatting as timeout is called. I mentioned talking to Bob Cousy before about Robert Parrish. Cousy told me before the game he thinks, well, he sees based on recent play that Parrish has hit a wall. As I mentioned, 14 points in the last 3 games. The feeling was they would sign him for another year, but Cousy thinks that the Boston Celtic management, which is in a lot of disarray right now, according to the Boston papers, is differing on that subject. There's Bob Cousy on the left, Tommy Heinsohn on the right, broadcasting back to Boston. But Cousy thinks they have revisited the subject of signing Parrish for next year, and that might not be an automatic now.
I recognize the man on the left from his starring role in the motion picture Blue Chips, playing the athletic director of the school that was being coached by Nick Nolte. McDaniel off the steal. Oh, Derek Harper enjoys that one. Foul is called. Raja holding Harper, so Derek Harper picked it off from Xavier McDaniel.
Blackman a little careless with that pass. McDaniel on the case, pushing it up court. He thinks he's got a break going, but Harper pulls that pass right out of the air, and Knicks control it now.
The Knicks lead by 1 as we come up on 1 minute to go in this first half. Harper setting it up for Blackman. Ewing plays the deflection, and he is fouled. Combination of McDaniel and Raja all over Ewing. Once again, Patrick Ewing to the line.
Patrick going to the line now for the 10th time here in the first half.
Following this afternoon, the Knicks do not play until Tuesday night, home for Chicago. The Celtics back home tomorrow afternoon for the Atlanta Hawks. One of the all-time greats, the Big O, Oscar Robertson. Now, I'm not talking about Sam Goldapple, who in his own way is a member of the elite. Chatting with Oscar. Bruce Beck will be talking with Oscar Robertson at halftime. Oscar here along with a number of outstanding players for the Knicks Legends game to take place following the Knicks and the Celtics, an abbreviated affair. So John Starks trying to figure out how the cane works.
Yes, he can make it larger as he was working with it.
Corey Gaines mystified also by the maneuverings of John Starks. And John being shown on Garden Vision up above, and he's hearing the cheers from the crowd. Crowd reacting to the MSG television shot of John Starks that has appeared on the big screen. If they only realize the man does not know how to use the cane, John. Jimmy Oliver at the line with 44 seconds to go in this first half, and the game is now tied at 52. Jimmy Oliver receiving much playing time in the second quarter, and he has provided instant offense. 8 points for Oliver, and it's Boston by 1. This is not one of the Knicks' better defensive efforts. Ewing, yes. Knicks lead 54-53, 21 points for Patrick Ewing.
Ewing really has come to play today and has been magnificent.
Douglas. Hopper ahead of the field. And it will count. Knocked down by McDaniel. So the Knicks lead 56-53.
The end of that layup, Harper goes up for a clean shot. McDaniel has to be annoying. That's 2 points for Derek Harper. No dunk attempt by Derek, right off the backboard.
Down to 18 seconds to go in this first half. Knicks rewind on tap tonight at midnight. A replay of the Knicks and the Boston Celtics. While we have an opportunity here, we'd like to wish the very best to the Violets of New York University, NYU, coached by Joe Nessie, advancing to the championship game against Lebanon Valley College. Lebanon Valley defeating Wittenberg in overtime, while NYU has moved on. Its first national final since Howard Cahn's 1948 team reached the National Invitation Tournament championship. NYU with a 75-68 victory over Thomas Bowman last night to go to the Division III final. They won their semifinal game. It's being played up at Buffalo State College. Nice to see the Violets back in the news. A lot of nice stories being written about NYU. Dolph Shays back in Syracuse, a happy guy.
And he was at the game last night, which is nice to hear, showing his support. And it certainly brings back a lot of happy memories for basketball people in New York.
Time has run out in this first half. Both clubs shooting well. The Knicks at 62% from the field, and the Celtics at 56%. Patrick Ewing is the high man with 21, and Sherman Douglas 7 of 8 from the field, limping off as he heads back to the locker room. 7 of 8, 14 points for Douglas to lead Boston. Coming up in a moment, our halftime, which includes words from Walt Clyde Frazier, and Bruce will be chatting with the Big O, Oscar Robertson. Back in a moment.
Back to Madison Square Garden, where the Knicks lead the Celtics at the half, 56-53. And joining me courtside, the Big O, Oscar Robertson, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest to ever play the game. And Oscar, what about the Knicks? Do they have enough offense to compete for an NBA title?
Well, I think with the Knicks, their key is defense because they come down, really play a great half-court game, and Ewan is playing super basketball today. They can do that, and with the two new guards, Harper and the kid from North Carolina, they're playing really, really good right now.
Do you see teams focusing more on offense, though, than on defense these days?
I don't know. I think it's a combination of things. When you're going to win, you don't know it's going to work for you sometimes. If you're not scoring, you got to play better defense to win. If your defense is working, it just triggers your offense all the way down the court.
Oscar, what ball player in the NBA today are you most impressed with?
A lot of them. Ewan is playing very good basketball tonight. Olajuwon is, I think, is super. And Shaq is there. Shaq did tremendous amount of publicity wherever he goes, and San Antonio is playing good. So they're like Seattle. You don't get to see that much on television, but a lot of good teams. So it all shake out in the end, and the best teams are going to step forward, play in the final round, I'm sure.
How has the role of the guard changed?
Well, when Magic is going out and Isaiah's play is slipping, you don't hear that much about the guards because of the personality involved in the individual themselves. I think the off-court activity has a lot to do with a lot of things.
But, Oscar, the tempo is so different today than when you played. Do you need to be able to push the ball if you're a guard today to compete?
In order to win, you do. When you got players 7 foot, 7'3", 7'4" on your back line, you got to beat them down the court. You got to tire them out. If you don't, you're not playing smart basketball.
You were a guy who actually averaged a triple-double in one season. Today we make a big deal out of a player that gets a triple-double in a regular game.
Well, it wasn't a big thing then, you know. So everything's personality, everything's stats, and the game has changed a lot. People like that, so I think it's great for the game to announce it.
What was it like for you to win that world championship with the Bucks?
It was great. It's not that it was going to be an unexpected. We expected to win when I went to the Bucks. And you play good basketball, you're going to win. But the key is whether or not you can keep your team together. That's the key. You got to get a team together. And if the Knicks can get their team together, they're going to win. But you got to have a good bench. If your bench is no good, you're not going to win.
Oscar, when you talk about the beauty of the game, you talk about unselfishness, you talk about teamwork, and the Knicks had that in their golden era, 69, 70, and 72, 73.
Well, because of the way they play basketball today, was, you got to have good teamwork. You got to have a bench because someone's going to get hurt. You got to have someone to pick you up all the time. And right now, if the Knicks can get the bench play the way they have been, with Harper and with Blackman coming in, you get the guard that's got hurt his knee. I can't think of Starks comes back. That's the way you win games, the way you win championships.
It's always fun to ask these kind of questions, Oscar. What guard gave you the most difficulty when you went to the basket? Who was the best defensive player against the Big O?
Well, I'll answer it this way. I think Casey Jones was a tough defensive player. I think West was a good finesse player. Walt was a good defensive player, and so was Dick Barnett. But, when I was playing, I didn't worry about the defense at all. I was trying to get an offense started. I didn't care about anyone playing because I just responded to players. Everybody played me, pressured me, picked me up all over the court, so I got used to it.
Have you seen this young man, Jason Kidd, in California?
Yes, I have. Seen him play a lot.
A lot of people say he reminds them of Oscar, except he can't shoot yet.
Well, I don't know if he can shoot or not. I think he can shoot the basketball. He's been shooting it all his life, so he'll get his chance when he comes to the pro. I think he's a good talent. The Knicks had him now, they'd walk to the finals.
The Big O, Oscar Robertson, he'll be playing later today in the Sharp Electronics Legends game. We'll have highlights on Tuesday, and we hope that you're hitting a couple of those outside shots, Oscar.
Oh, my outside shot days are over.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
The Big O, Oscar Robertson, played with the Royals, of course, and the Milwaukee Bucks. Coming up next, we go from one Hall of Famer to another. Walt Clyde Frazier joins me for highlights in a moment.
As the amount you spend with your Discover card goes up, your
dealer and get to quality and into a Camry. And with Camry's new low $249 lease, Camrys are more affordable than ever. Camry, a Consumer's Digest Best Buy. Camry, the best car built in America. There are special leases on all Camry models during this March sales event, but you'd better hurry. This sales event ends April 5th.
Also with 8 points. Bruce Beck with another Hall of Famer, Walt Clyde Frazier. Very memorable battles against the Big O, Oscar Robertson. And Clyde, your thoughts on that first half of play? It was a lot of points for the Knicks to give up since they've been averaging under 90.
Yeah, which behooves the Celtics. It was an offensive-oriented game. The Knicks' forte, of course, is on the defense, so they've got to focus more on the defensive end.
All right, let's take a look at the first half highlights, and there were many in the early going. And the highlights brought to you by Minolta, makers of the new Maxim 700 SI, only from the mind of Minolta. Clyde Patrick Ewing had it his way.
Yeah, riveting play by Ewing. So he's been a dominant man in the paint area. Right here, the neophyte Earl, no match for Ewing, that he's willed to the hoop.
Well, Derek Harper was 5 for 6 from the field, Clyde. And if he shoots like this, the Knicks are dangerous.
Right, exuding a lot of confidence now. Harper, watch the shake and bake. So Harper drilling the jumper.
And nothing but net. Meanwhile, Sherman Douglas, 7 for 8 from the field. He also had 7 assists, and he ran the ball well.
Yeah, this time the Knicks are lax on the defense. Watch the spin move by Douglas. Herb Williams should have been there, but a belated attempt by Herb.
Well, they say this young man, Jimmy Oliver, can shoot the ball. You like what you seen him?
Prodigious off the bench, 6'3", 180. So he's ignited the Celtics with his perimeter shooting.
Jimmy Oliver, 3 for 4 from the field. He had 8 points in the first half. Well, we're not sure if the Knicks can hold the Celtics under 90. Right now, their main focus is to try to win the ball game. They lead by 3 at the break.
Ways to discover the card that pays you back by MetLife. Get
Bruce Beck back at the Garden, where the Knicks lead the Celtics 56-53 at the half. Right now, back to Marv Albert and Johnny Hoops Andres.
I thought that was totally unnecessary. Too much enthusiasm.
I thought it sounded nice.
You thought so?
Bruce did a nice job.
Nice shooting. First half, Celtics 56% on 22 of 39, and the Knicks 62%, 21 of 34. Off the bench, Boston with the edge in contrast to how the Knicks handled Milwaukee the other night. And you see the free throws. Knicks opened up in hot fashion, but then cooled off late in the second quarter. Anthony Bonner, the intended receiver of that pass, but it was diagnosed and picked off. The Knicks with a 56-53 lead as this third quarter gets underway.
11th turnover of the game for the Knicks. The Celtics have only had 4 turnovers.
Raja bringing Boston within 1. Eric Hopper and Hubert Davis open at the guards. Patrick Ewing is up front with Charles Oakley and Anthony Bonner. Ewing is the high point man with 21. Pat Riley, a man who will be celebrating his 49th birthday tomorrow, cannot be happy with the defensive effort by the Knicks, as the Celtics have managed to score most trips down court. Parrish giving Boston a 1-point lead.
Parrish now 4 for 6 from the field for the game. Only played 11 minutes of the first half because of his early fouls. Let's take a look now at our Toyota matchup featuring the point guards of this game. Derek Harper and Sherman Douglas both shot the ball extremely well. Douglas excelled himself with his passing, 7 assists thus far.
Hubert Davis, who has been quiet, on the line after being fouled by D. Brown. Brown picking up his 3rd. Hubert has taken only 1 shot, and this after Pat Riley made it clear that he'd like to see Hubert become a bit more, I don't know if selfish is the word for it, but that's the word that he did use. He wants to see Hubert look for his shots. First half, 1 for 1 from the floor. That was it. And he has it 3 of 4 from the line.
Pat noted his own confidence building, and he said the confidence of his teammates will also increase if he continues to shoot.
Raja gets the second effort. The game is tied at 57. And Ewing with the steal, feeding Davis. 3-on-1. Davis. Bonner with the rebound. Nice play. Got it to Ewing. Ewing was fouled.
That amazing. The Knicks had a 4-on-1, and they couldn't get the hoop.
Foul committed by Fox. That is number 3 on Fox. So Patrick Ewing to the line. He's now 7 of 11 from the line. He hit his first 7, and he's missed his last 4. 5 straight misses at the line. For the Knicks, this is game 4 of a 5-game homestand. Tuesday night home for the Chicago Bulls, who are playing well once again. That'll be an 8 o'clock start. Next game night 7:30. And then next Thursday, back to the road at Minnesota. Next Friday to Indiana. Next Sunday afternoon at Orlando. The Knicks lead 58-57.
Ewing and Parrish are really going at it. Parrish finally gets the ball down low. And the Knicks call for an illegal defense in the process. Parrish and Ewing banging away. Ewing denying the position. Parrish demanding the position. That's why you lift weights if you're a big man. That's the kind of action that goes on in the NBA.
Fox with the fake. Davis played by Brown. Oakley. And the foul from behind committed by Bonner. All over Douglas.
I must say, Mark, by the play of the Celtics today, there is no real sign of the stories we have been reading in Boston about the disarray of management, about the team playing so poorly that it has no direction, no leadership from the top off the court. They're playing very hard today, but the critics have really been landing hard on this team in the management area particularly.
Well, I think you're seeing the best that the Celtics have offered, and well, they lost by only 1 the other night against Chicago, but the problem is with a mediocre team, they don't do it every night. Been very inconsistent. And I would think they get up a bit more against the Knicks and playing in New York. Fox, and they are also shooting exceptionally well. That solves a lot of problems. Boston leads 59-58. They have been hitting at a 56% clip. The Knicks shooting at 54. Davis played by the on a switch by Raja. Ewing changed his mind. Bonner rejected. Oakley, yes. The Knicks 60, the Celtics 59. Brown and Douglas in the backcourt. Parrish at center. Raja and Fox at the forwards. Parrish working hard. Rebounded by Ewing. And Hopper regroups it as he waits for Ewing to move down court.
Celtics seem to be doing a better job of getting back in defensive transition themselves, and the Knicks are getting sloppy with that basketball now again.
Parrish rejected by Ewing. Oakley playing the rejection, leading Hopper. Oh, that is beautiful. A solid rejection by Ewing. Able to keep it in play. It was fielded, leading to the fast break. The Knicks lead 62-59. Parrish, Robert Parrish with 8 points. For Ewing, that was his 3rd blocked shot. The Knicks lead is now 1.
Parrish is presenting himself now as a factor in this game.
Here's Davis. And Fox with the rebound. Dave Brown, as Hubert Davis tried to draw the charging foul, went down. Parrish. Robert Parrish is now on fire. Slow start, but he's come on, and he's given Boston a 1-point lead, and the Boston bench really into it.
Yes, when he hit that shot, they all leaped.
Hopper off on that 3-point attempt, and a foul is called on Ewing. That is only his first foul. Timeout is taken by the Knicks. 6-4.
Oakley with that ball. Derek Harper with the finish. Canon Technology and MCS Service. One is a great reason to buy the other.
6:40 remaining in the 3rd quarter. It's the Celtics 63 and the Knicks 62. The steal by Davis. And fouled by Douglas.
Perfect diagnosis by Hubert Davis. Saw where that pass was intended and ran into that passing lane.
New York Knicks trying to make it 9 straight wins. The 8 in a row, their longest win streak of the season. They had won 7 straight to begin the season. Call away from the ball against the Celtics. Parrish called for throwing an elbow. That's his 3rd foul. Well, one more rebound for Charles Oakley, and he passes by Dave DeBusschere into the number 5 slot on the Knick all-time rebounding list. Ewing was fouled. He'll go back to the line.
Well, it's interesting with all those names, Marv. They're all here today.
The irony of it.
Yes.
There's Charles Oakley coming into today's game, 6th on the all-time Knicks career list with 4,666 rebounds. A.C. Earl getting set to come on. He has already passed Nat Sweetwater Clifton, Walt Frazier, Willie Knowles on the all-time Knick rebound list. A.C. Earl for Robert Parrish leads with 10.6 rebounds. Parrish called for his 4th foul. So Patrick Ewing, after missing 5 in a row, hits a couple. He had hit his first 7. A lot of time at the line for Ewing. 10 of 15 overall. The Knicks lead by 1. Here's Brown. He got the step and fouled. D. Brown showing his quickness, something he does not do on a consistent basis. He did against the Bulls the other night.
D. Brown is so quick, so fast. He owns that baseline on this move while drawing the foul. Since the Knicks and Celtics met, D. Brown had a very interesting week. He played 50 minutes against the Hornets the other night. Then he had a 27-point effort, which you mentioned earlier, Marv, in their last one against Chicago. He had a 6-minute stretch in the 3rd quarter when he shot 6 out of 7. Had 3 steals and a block shot. D. Brown can be as spectacular as those numbers indicate. But the feeling is he wants to leave Boston and go to a team that's going to be winning before the Celtics get it together. And it looks like it's going to take a few years before that happens.
Ewing rebounded by Earl. Boston by 1. 5:45 remaining in the 3rd. Nice play. Pretty lead pass. So Rick Fox has 12 points, and the Celtics now lead by 3.
Patrick Ewing lost track of where the ball was on that play. But he didn't
answer with Oakley connecting with Ewing. Celtics by 1. Here's Brown. Boston 69 and the Knicks 66. Close game throughout. The 3-point lead for the Celtics matches their biggest of the game. Earlier, the Knicks led by as many as 5. Here's Davis. That was a 3-point attempt. Fox wants to run. Knicks get back. Douglas. He was allowed to penetrate, but could not finish it off. Last touch by the Knicks.
Well, after Ewing was the victim of a play like this, he came down court, got in great position, and a beautiful pass so that all Patrick had to do was cradle that ball down into the basket. One thing you noticed today, Marv, is Hubert Davis is being played a lot tougher than he was in Boston when he lit it up for 25, hitting 10 of 11 last Friday night. He's not getting those open shots as he did. The Celtics are really on his case today.
Roger. Rebounded by Ewing. Hopper for 3. Yes. That's his 2nd from downtown this afternoon, and he's tied the game at 69. Hopper has 17 points. Holding foul on Hopper. That's his 1st. The Knicks with their 4th team foul. The Celtics are already over the limit. The Knicks have won the last 5 games against Boston, 7 of the last 8. Remember that 23-game drought up in Boston, regular season play that dated back to February of '84. That has ended. And the Knicks have even won 4 straight in Boston in regular season play. Fox lost it. Oakley fouled by Raja. So Dino Raja, who has been quiet today, is called for his 3rd foul.
You know, Marv, you mentioned that. I was just thinking that when you look back to last Friday, 26 points and a career high, tying 15 rebounds against the Knicks. Shows you how he has been quiet today. The Knicks are focusing on him, much as the Celtics are on Hubert Davis. Oakley showed his quickness in putting that ball on the floor and driving against Raja. I was talking to Kuzi again to name drop Marv before the game about Raja, and he was complaining about Dino's defense. He's certainly tough on the offensive end, but feels that he doesn't get it done well enough defensively.
John, don't feel that you're name dropping. I've heard the Coos use your name from time to time, you know, quoting you. So, you know, things work both ways. When you were a kid, John, did you ever think that Bob Cousy would refer on his broadcast to? I was talking to John Andrews earlier.
Well, I so happened I spent 2 years at his summer camp when I was in college and developed this rapport.
Derek Harper is called for the foul. In other words, you paid to develop the rapport.
No, I was a paid counselor. I was
you got paid
working at his camp. Yes,
I see.
I will also say that one of the great thrills of my life is playing with him and having him set a pick for me and actually freeze framing the moment in my mind. He was at the peak of his career then, and what a thrill that was. Who was setting a pick for me? For lowly me?
Now, John.
Well, that's the way he played the game.
I've always had this image problem. There's Bob with Tommy Heinsohn working the game on WSBK television. Back to Boston. The Knicks 71 and the Celtics 70 with 3:35 left in the 3rd. And away from the ball, it's on Fox.
Fox wants an explanation.
Charles Oakley just a moment ago picking up his 6th rebound of the game, so he has now passed Hall of Famer Dave DeBusschere for 5th place on the Knicks all-time rebounding list. Rick Fox with 4 fouls, and Xavier McDaniel greeted by the crowd as he checks back in.
Bob, now that you mention that, I looked down to where Dave DeBusschere was sitting before, and he's not there. I guess he couldn't bear.
He's suiting up
to watch.
He's getting ready for the big game.
That's what it is.
Oh, yes. I know you'd like to have it more dramatically that Dave is very upset. I think Dave is aware of it. And a traveling violation is called. So the ball goes back to the Knicks, who are going with Harper and Davis in the backcourt. Ewing, Oakley, and Mason on the front line. Conversation between Celtic assistant coach Dennis Johnson and Charles Oakley. Here's Dennis, who was here scouting on Thursday night for the Milwaukee game.
He obviously did a good scouting job.
He's really helped the Celtics shooting here today, hasn't he, John? Kept alive by Ewing, and now Douglas starts back. Here's Brown on the break. Just under 3 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Chris Ford upset and chatting with the officials as play continues. Illegal defense called against the Knicks. Chris Ford in a conversation with Jim Kinsey right throughout that play. Timeout is being called now 2:47 left in the third.
Schedule, you see the Knicks will go up against the Chicago Bulls here Tuesday night, game night at 7:30. Thursday, the Knicks hit the road again out to Minnesota for a 7:30 game night also, and Friday night down to Indiana. Revisit the Pacers as Hall of Famer Red Holzman concentrating, focusing on his job in the Legends game to follow.
Red, the man who guided the Knicks to NBA championships in 1970 and 73. Do you think he'll be screaming to his Legends team, see the ball later on?
He's going to have a problem though, Marv. There are so many legends here. He's going to have to make them all happy. That means playing time in a very short game.
The Knicks 72 and the Celtics 71. 2:40 to go in the third. Ewing lost it. Try to put a move on the rookie A.C. Earl. So Brown and Douglas now in the backcourt. Earl with Roger and McDaniel up front. And Xavier McDaniel guarded by Charles Oakley. Dino Roger. Boston up 73-72.
The man should not be allowed to catch the ball as close to the basket as Roger did. He's 6'11".
John, unless there is a miraculous turn defensively, I think that Knick defensive record is in major trouble. Foul is called on Davis. The Knicks, by beating the Bucks the other night 105-83, made it 8 straight games holding the opposition under 90 points. That tied the NBA record set by the Syracuse Nationals of 1954 and 55. Knicks have won all 8 of those games. Syracuse winning 6 of the 8 and gunning for the record today, but they have not been able to stop the Celtics. With 2 minutes to go in the third, Boston has 73 points. Now the Knicks have come up in particular in recent weeks with very strong fourth quarter efforts, but Boston only 16 points away from 90. And the Celtics now lead 75-72. Knicks only 4 of 15 from the field in the third quarter.
That's after a 62% shooting in the first half.
Oakley fed by Mason. Nice give back by Anthony Mason, and the Knicks are down by 1. Oakley 12 points, 7 rebounds. My man for the Knicks, Patrick Ewing, with 26. And Roger drew the foul. Oakley called for his third. And a new backcourt now for the Knicks. Orlando Blackman and Greg Anthony come on, replacing Derek Harper and Hubert Davis. Harper with 17. Davis with only 4 points.
Well, I was talking about the Celtic front office problems. Some of the news up there is revolving around the somewhat contemptuous writing of the Boston newspapers for the, as you would say, once mighty franchise. There have been several articles complaining about the team this year and the fact that all they really have to think about this year is how many ping pong balls they'll have in the lottery bowl. Reference also to the disarray and divided management and the different factions, the Red Auerbach faction and the executive vice president Dave Gavitt faction. Dave under a lot of pressure up there in Boston. Actually called a press conference recently to explain the fact that he is hardworking, which is a complaint that had been made by one of the writers up there, that he wasn't working hard enough. Called a press conference, had people come and he explained how hard he is working, which also turned a few heads that Dave would devote that amount of time to that subject. Dave, a very respected figure in basketball lore, particularly on the college level, is under a lot of pressure now in Boston to make things better.
And this is a club that will have to be broken up, dismantled. Foul was called on Earl, but with salary cap restrictions, obviously you have to keep a number of people. You can't do too much because there will not be much quality remaining.
One of the other complaints, too, is that the management is continuing to hire executive types, and the feeling expressed by Red Auerbach in reference to that the other day was that we have too many Chiefs, rather, not enough Indians, whereas Auerbach used to do the whole thing all by himself.
Celtics by 1 with 1 minute left in the third. Roger. Blackman. And a loose ball foul is called. Xavier McDaniel picks up his third. These have been very difficult times for the Boston Celtics, which started with the death of Reggie Lewis last July. They have suffered emotionally because Reggie was a very popular individual, and obviously they suffered competitively because he was their best player. But this franchise that in recent years has lost Larry Bird, Kevin McHale to retirement. And, last year the question was raised, is this a potential lottery team? Are they a shade too good for the lottery, which is not necessarily a positive, and they were too good for the lottery last season. Made the playoffs, then were knocked out in the first round by the Charlotte Hornets. Knicks and Celtics are tied at 77. Knicks by 1, 47 seconds left in the third. Some pressure shown by the Knicks. Now Anthony drops back. Douglas handles. McDaniel with the step. And 3-second violation called on the Celtics. Seconds remaining in this third quarter. Mason, that's a goaltender. A.C. Earl making the catch, but the basket will count.
Another move to the right, going left rather, and shooting right by Anthony Mason. He has developed that right hand. He's normally a left-handed shooter beautifully.
15 seconds to go, third quarter. Final seconds of the quarter. Pinckney. Knicks by 1, 4/10 of a second remaining in this third quarter. After 3 here at the Garden, the Knicks 80 and the Celtics 79.
Pardon me, where are you going with all that Bud Light?
The Lee family reunion.
Then I'm here for the Lee family reunion.
You're a member of the Lee family.
Yes.
Go out and shoot those bricks as he shoot those jump shots as he did in the past.
You have to remember that Butch Beard has a championship ring, the ring that people thirst for who play professional basketball.
Earned that championship ring as a member of the Rick Barry-led Golden State Warriors. And then was traded away the following season as called by Al Attles, but finished up his NBA career with the New York Knicks. And then was a member of the broadcast crew.
I wonder if Butch and his former University of Louisville team, Wes Unseld, get together down in the area of Washington. I guess they do. Great players.
Knicks 80 and the Celtics 79 as this fourth quarter gets underway. And Riley staying with Greg Anthony and Rolando Blackman in the backcourt. Herb Williams has come on. He's up front with Charles Oakley and Anthony Mason. Jimmy Oliver back for Boston. Shot well in the first half. Mason for Anthony. Shoots the three. And Oliver gets to it. Jimmy Oliver, second-year man out of Purdue. Played 13 minutes in the first half and hit 3 of 4, 8 points. Oliver and Brown now in the backcourt. Earl, Pinckney, McDaniel up front on the call. Offensive foul on Brown.
Little shoving match there with McDaniel and Oakley. Oakley wanted that basketball. McDaniel wouldn't turn it over, so they banged a little bit. Now it's time for the Knicks to get serious on defense. They've got to lift it up now.
Correction on that call was McDaniel on the foul, his fourth. The Knicks lead 80-79. Here is Blackman. Yes. Rolando Blackman has found the touch. He's 5 of 7 from the field. He has 10 points. Shot well Thursday night and breaking out against the Bucks. Brown. Rebounded by Mason.
No second shots for the Celtics now.
Mason. And the Knicks lead 84-79. That matches their biggest lead of the game. Chris Ford calls for time.
Oakley, McDaniel. Just a couple of big fellas. That was a smirk coming off Oakley's face. Mason sets the pick. He rolls to the basket. And he makes a hook shot. That was probably for some of the legends here today to show that the hook shot hasn't been totally forgotten in the NBA.
Knicks by 5 with 2:15 gone by in the fourth quarter. So the Knicks opening up this fourth quarter in grand style. The shot clock is down at 2. Mason jumping out on the steal. It's a 24-second violation, and the Knicks defense has tightened up here in the fourth quarter.
They take great pride in fourth quarter defense, and like a switch, they've turned it on.
Yes, the Knicks have excelled recently in the fourth quarter. Last week they overcame deficits to win in the fourth quarter 3 straight games. Greg Anthony with another terrific move.
A right hand from Greg on the finish. He usually stays with the left, even from the right side.
Oliver forcing. Rebound Mason. Herb Williams for an open Rolando Blackman. Yes.
Oh, that's exciting. Look at everybody rotate to Blackman.
The Celtics will talk it over. 9-0 run by the Knicks, and they lead by 10.
March Cooper.
Trying to keep the Celtics under 90. It will be a very difficult task. Boston with 79 points, 8:38 remaining, and the crowd, of course, now into it. But the Knicks defense moving to another level at the start of the fourth quarter. Get the idea that the Knicks would like to hold the ball a little bit more on the offensive end. Anthony. And back comes Douglas. He's tripped up by Anthony. So the Celtics will get a new 24. Second team foul committed by the Knicks.
With this emotional display and outburst by the Knicks, I'm sure Chris Ford would like to see his Celtics at least match the emotion, particularly Dino Raja.
Here's Raja, stopped by Williams. Blackman for Anthony. 11-0 run by the Knicks. Douglas forcing. Williams with the rebound. Oh, this is a spectacular stretch. Mason. Knicks now decide to slow it down. Blackman. One bounces Oakley. Yes. The Knicks 93, the Celtics 79, and Boston will talk it over. A 13-0 run to open up the fourth. fourth quarter. The fourth quarter has been a favorite portion of the game for Pat Riley and his ball club the last couple of weeks. Last 8 games, they've held every opponent under 90 points, allowing only 84.5 points per game. They've tied the NBA record since the advent of the 24-second clock record of 8 straight, holding the opposition under 90 that was set by the Syracuse Nationals of 1954-55. Boston Celtics open up this game red hot and appear to be well on their way to surpassing 90 points, but now there's a question. 7:20 remaining. Boston stuck on 79 and having difficulty getting shots off. Fox lost the dribble, recovered by Raja. Raja gets it up. Rebound Mason.
There are no second shots for the Celtics.
Anthony for Blackman for 3. Rebound Mason. And the Knicks will regroup.
Mason has been magnificent here in the fourth quarter, rebounding, leading the ball up court, and also making terrific decisions, unselfish decisions.
Oakley with the save. Oh, what a play by Charles Oakley. Shot clock is down to 5. Here's Anthony, got the step. Nice ball fake. What a move by Anthony, but not able to finish it off. He had Roger going the other way. Here's Fox with an open shot. And a loose ball foul against the Knicks. The Celtics have not scored in the fourth quarter. Oakley called for the foul. We have 6:27 remaining in the fourth, and the Knicks are pitching a shutout. Here's Patrick Ewing back, replacing Charles Oakley. Here's it from the crowd. 16 points, 7 rebounds.
That reception from the crowd is the loudest I've heard for Charles Oakley during a game.
Brown got the step, rejected by Ewing. Anthony with Douglas back, and he'll reset. We are seeing a remarkable defensive effort by the Knicks. Ewing draws the foul. Robert Parrish has just checked back in, getting a piece of the ball, and also a piece of Ewing. That's 5 on Parrish, and Ewing to the line. We have 6 minutes, 1 second remaining in the fourth quarter. Boston has not scored. It was 80-79 after 3. And the Knicks now lead 94-79. A.C. Earl comes on for Robert Parrish.
So the outcome of the game seems quite apparent. Now the dramatic part of it for the rest of the way is, can the Knicks continue this defensive intensity and keep the Celtics under 90 and break an NBA record?
The Knicks 95, Celtics 79. Some light pressure being shown by the Knicks. Celtics very careful in handling the ball. Knicks looking for steals.
They are not passing the ball enough. They're all trying to do it one-on-one.
Another Celtic miss. Another rebound for Mason, who protects the dribble. We're down to 5.5 remaining. Fourth quarter. Ewing will go to the line. Took a push from Earl. A.C. Earl called for his 4th. Patrick Ewing to the line.
He is going to the line for the 20th time of this game.
(14 for 19 from the line. Ewing is the high man with 30. Derek Harper with 17 points. Charles Oakley with 16. The Knicks 96. The Celtics 79. Here's Blackman all over Brown. This is unbelievable to watch. 5:20 remaining in the fourth. Celtics blanked through the fourth quarter. Douglas. And there is the first Boston field goal. Knicks now lead 96-81. They went 6 minutes and 44 seconds without scoring.
Mason always stays within his range, doesn't force the jump shots.
And Ewing fouled. Again, it's called on Earl. That's 5 on Earl, 5 apiece on Earl and Parrish. That field goal by Sherman Douglas represents the Celtics' first points since 0.4 of a second remained in the third quarter. The Knicks now lead 98-81. 4:45 remaining in this fourth quarter. Herb Williams called for the foul. That is the fourth team foul committed by the Knicks. So Sherman Douglas will go to the line. Douglas 2 for 2 from the line. He has 18 points. The Knicks have outscored the Celtics 18-2 here in the fourth quarter. So Douglas hits 1 out of 2, and the Knicks now lead 98-82. Mason posting up on Fox.
Patrick Ewing has broken his own personal record of foul shot attempts today. He now has 23 attempts from the line.
Anthony penetrating. Greg Anthony with 10 points, and the Knicks lead 100-82. The Knicks, who were not able to get many defensive stops through the first 3 quarters, have turned it in that department here in the fourth. Dino Raja off the double pump, rebounded by Ewing.
But Herb Williams doesn't go for the double pump. Wisely keeps his footing.
Blackman. I think the crowd is unhappy when the Knicks take shots. They want a little semblance of a freeze offensively to hold on to that ball. Here is Earl, but the Celtics cannot hit.
They have no intensity whatsoever on their offensive boards. When they miss shots, the Knicks are getting, I believe, every defensive rebound of the fourth quarter.
Ewing. Celtics 1 for 11 from the field in the fourth quarter. We come up on 3 minutes remaining. 82 points for Boston. The Knicks trying to hold them under 90. Blocking foul called, and it puts the Knicks over the limit.
After that 32 rather point first quarter that the Celtics had, it looked like it would be impossible for the Knicks to hold them under 90. And at the half, the Celtics had 53 points.
Substitution for the Celtics, Tony Harris, recent addition to the squad, playing on his 4th game with Boston, has come on. Here's Sherman Douglas. Douglas now 3 of 5 from the line. Tony Harris, 2nd year out of New Orleans, signing another 10-day contract. Played for the Sixers a couple of years ago. 100-83 with 3 minutes 5 seconds remaining in the fourth.
Well, that foul shot by Douglas gives the Celtics 30 total points for the second half.
And they've been outscored 20-4 here in the fourth quarter. Ewing called for steps. Basket does not count. Down to 2:48 remaining. That NBA record on the line. The Knicks try to pass by the Syracuse Gnats of 54-55, holding up the opposition under 90 points. Dino Radja hurting the cause. The Celtics with 85 points. The Knicks have gone 8 straight games holding the opposition under 90. And Boston closing in. The Knicks now lead 100-85. Blackman. Rebound, Ewing. So Ewing has 35, and the Knicks lead 102-85. Knicks are also over the limit, so they do not want to foul. Douglas. Sherman Douglas goes short. Kept alive by A.C. Earl. The Knicks now lead 102-87 with 1:58 remaining. Fourth quarter. The only drama involved here is whether Boston will hit 90. And a foul is called on the Celtics. Anthony Bonner checks back in. Patrick Ewing will sit down. 35 points for Ewing. Roger called for the foul. Chris Corchiani coming on for the first time. Kevin Gamble, once a standout player for the Celtics, has not seen any time at all here this afternoon. He has been in and out of the Chris Ford rotation. Shot clock at 10. And keeping the shot clock in your picture a little bit longer than normal because of the situation. And a rebound by Mason to give the Knicks another possession. We're down to 1:20 remaining, fourth quarter. Blackman. The crowd did not want him to shoot, but it's Mason again. I think he's single-handedly trying to keep this record intact.
Well, he's doing it, and the crowd is so into it.
Well, it was Anthony Mason the other day who said, well, you know, it's an honor that we tied the Syracuse Gnats record. Mason has been doing it off the offensive boards. 12 rebounds in all for Mason. Fox called for the foul. And now the Celtics are over the limit with 1:01 remaining.
Well, Mason just stood at half court and looked over at the Celtic bench in a very demeaning glance. He is really feeling his oats. You know, Mark, that Gamble reference that you just made, I almost think that's personal. Gamble's too good a shooter not to be in this game at all.
Well, this is not new, though. He has been in and out of the lineup. He has gone games where he has not played. Knicks 103, Celtics 87. So the Knicks need a stop right here. The can of defense. Just under 1 minute to go. Fourth quarter. Corchiani. And here is Harris. It counts and the foul. Tony Harris with a 3 and a potential four-point play. So that is it for the Knicks defensive record, and the Knicks are hearing it from the crowd. The applause for this Knick effort as the Celtics have hit 90 points.
Tony Harris led the Celtics the other day in scoring with 22 against Miami last weekend. He may have a future here with the Celtics.
He was leading the CBA in scoring, averaging 27 a game. So the Syracuse Nationals stay alive in the record book alongside the New York Knicks, holding the opposition under 90 for 8 straight games. They share the NBA record. That's since the inception of the 24-second clock. Bonner with the steal. 25 seconds to go. But again, the Knicks turning it around with a very strong fourth quarter. And a remarkable run defensively. Blackman. Rebound Bonner. Goes to the reverse. It counts. And the foul.
It's ironic that the Knicks won't get this record, perhaps because of that 4-point play of Harris. Certainly the 3-point shot did it. And that's what it took.
9 seconds to go in the fourth. A.C. Earl sitting down. Jimmy Oliver is back. Knicks have outscored the Celtics 25-12 in the fourth. Bonner with his first field goal. Down to 5 seconds. And the Knicks just run it out. They have defeated the Celtics to make it a sweep of the season series. 105-91 is the final. They just do fall short of setting an NBA record. But the Tony Harris 4-point play spoiled it. So the Knicks outscore the Celtics 25-12 in the fourth quarter. And they make it a 4-game sweep. They also have won 9 in a row. They go to 45-19, while the Celtics have dropped 5 straight.
This neighborhood.
He was in the game or not, and there's a look at the Boston Celtics side. They have continued to struggle, even though they shot it very well for much of the game. This is the shot that broke the back, the 90-point mark. It's a 3 by Tony Harris with about 50 seconds left in the ball game. He hit it, and he was fouled, and that was all she wrote. But still, the Knicks have to be very pleased with their defensive effort in that fourth quarter. When the Celtics had 79 at the end of 3, it looked like keeping the Celtics under 90 was going to be an impossibility. But the Knicks really buckled down the hatches, and the Celtics didn't get a point in that fourth quarter of play for 6 minutes and 44 seconds. So the Knicks attempt at breaking the all-time record for consecutive games, holding the opponent under 90, does not come to fruition this afternoon. They will end up holding the record along with the Syracuse Nats from 1954-55. Patrick Ewing was monstrous in the ballgame, set a career high for free throw attempts. Ewing finished the ballgame with 35 points, 14 rebounds, and 4 blocked shots. He was at the free throw line for almost the entire game. He's our Hilton player of the game. Patrick was 17 of 23 from the line, 9 of 16 from the field. And in the fourth quarter, the Knicks were going to him almost every time down the floor. Here he is feasting on the offensive glass and putting it back and in. The Knicks have won 9 in a row. They win over the Celtics, and we'll be back.
You'd be so nice to come.
I thought, very solid game. They were shooting the ball. Very capable, offensive team with their shooters, and it was just a tough game for us. But we did not really get after it until that fourth quarter, and then it was about 6 or 7 minutes of just harassing defense, a lot of ball pressure, not giving them any real good looks at it, and affecting the rhythm of their set. So it was it was timely, because somewhere we had to get out of it. Otherwise, this could have gone right down to the wire. I thought Anthony Mason was just, it may be the best couple of games that he's played since he's been here. He's just playing with tremendous fire and energy, and running the court, and he has an intangible that we noticed when he came here, and this great athletic ability and the ability to run and be swift and strong, and he was a real factor tonight with his ball pressure. It took him a couple of games to really get his legs under him. I've said this 100 times about Rolando. He's just a pro's pro. He really is. He's playing hard. He's playing very, very aggressive, and he's making plays. I think once he gets his legs under him even more, he's catching the ball coming off screens, coming real hard and making plays. I've always believed in him. I don't care how old he is. He can play the game of basketball, and when he plays consistently, I think he's going to be really good for us.
How big a motivating factor was the 90-point mark at the beginning of the fourth quarter?
We didn't talk about it. You know, we just wanted to win. You know, we wanted to get a good 2 or 3 minute start, give Patrick a rest, and you know, it's pleasing to be able to sit there and watch, you know, those guys open up a lead, you know, with Patrick basically dominating the game, you know, at least at his position. And it just didn't stop. You know, we just kept going and kept going and kept adding to the lead. And I thought Greg played with great energy in that quarter. So we didn't talk about it until Tony Harris hit the 3. I think it was obvious.
Yeah, it seemed like they became aware of it.
Yeah, I think everybody was aware of it, yeah, at that time, you know, and, you know, I think obviously it's more important for the health, you know, the health of the team, you know, taking Patrick out of the game and, you know, making that substitution. It would have been nice, but, you know, the win is more important than that.
Coach, is it more dangerous to be a team that puts on a fourth quarter as you've been doing?
The game is played, you know, the way it's played. It was played very, very well by both teams. You know, it was a 1 or 2 point game throughout the whole game. And you know, we don't just rely on the fourth quarter to try to win the game, but, you know, we have been a pretty good fourth quarter team, and if that's a quarter where you're really going to step up and you feel a sense of urgency to really get after people, you know, so be it. But if we could have played that way in the second quarter, we would have. I just thought we were a little bit, you know, lethargic and flat. And when you win a lot of games consecutively, we talked about this the other night, about being objective in the wins and what you weren't doing, and we just were not really aggressive at all for about 3 quarters. And then we got real aggressive.
Pat, do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah. You know, the key to our defense is not just being physical. The key to our overall defense, and I think the one thing that we do probably more than a lot of other teams, is we really, you know, emphasize pressuring the basketball. You know, in all situations. We pressure it with non-shooters. You know, we don't care who it is. So I thought the pressure on Sherman, you know, we kept him with his dribble a long time, and he kept trying to break us down, and it really takes away the, you know, the trigger points in an offense when you're up there with a guy trying to hit shooters coming off screens and stuff. And at that particular time, the other 4 guys were closing out real strong too. So, I mean, it's key to our defense. When we're pressuring the ball like Mason can pressure it and Oak can pressure it as Biggs and Herb and Pat, we're going to be effective.
How much is your superior condition playing in the fourth quarter?
I think we're in good shape. You know, we work hard. Guys are...
And the press conference brought to you by Saturn, a different kind of company, a different kind of car. Well, Coach Pat Riley was very complimentary about Anthony Mason, saying that he played with fire and energy, and said that you played perhaps your best 2 back-to-back games of the year. Your thoughts on those comments?
Well, I'd probably agree on the, you know, best 2 back-to-back games of the year. You know, like I was struggling at first with the injuries and playing hurt, you know, which is no excuse. You know, you come out to play, you got to play. But just to get back on track and to be getting back on track going down the stretch, you know, is very important to me.
The record, I know it was on your mind because you talked earlier in the week about it being an honor for the Knicks to be tied with the Syracuse Nats.
It was definitely, you know, first and foremost, you wanted to get the victory because the game was too close to begin with, you know, going into the fourth quarter. But it was a 1-point lead or something like that. And then after you start shutting them down and putting clamps on the rim, and then you look at the clock and it's a chance for you to shut them down, it, you know, it becomes all in your mindset.
You had that sequence where you had back-to-back rebounds on the offensive end, and you would not be denied.
No, I wanted to, if they'd have kept shooting it, I'd have kept getting the rebound. I wanted to hold them under 90 bad.
So you brought it back out trying to kill some clock.
Right. You know, I thought we'd bring it out, move the ball around, and get it back out.
I think if they didn't foul you in the next sequence here, you would have been doing that for a while.
Oh, yeah, I'd have definitely got inside. Somebody would have had to foul me or do something. I'd have constantly kept getting the rebound.
Terrific effort, Anthony, and congratulations to the ball club and another good defensive end.
All right, thank you, and thank God for giving me the ability to do all this, and thank you for having me here.
Anthony Mason finishing the ballgame with 7 points and 13 rebounds, a big reason why the Knicks came through with the W. Guests receive the American Express gift check. Think of it as a universal certificate that can be used to buy anything just about anywhere. Gift checks are available where American Express Traveler's checks are sold. Guests also receive Bulova timepieces. Bulova, make every minute count with timeless elegance and precision design. The Marine Star Collection from Bulova. Mason was a man, and the Knicks have the W.